Thank you all for coming out this morning. My name is Rico Kiddingdongo. I am the director of the Office of Planning and Community Development. We are all here this morning to talk about the 2025 Equitable Development Initiative, or EDI, funding awards. In response to the Comprehensive Plan Major Update in 2016, the EDI program was created in response to community to address displacement and provide BIPOC organizations a path for generational wealth. EDI now represents an important component of our city's approach to equitable development and the alignment of EDI funding with broader urban planning and community goals. Our program is one of the most effective programs to fight displacement. EDI fosters community leadership, cultural placemaking, and our shared vision for a more inclusive city. It ensures that community organizations most at risk of displacement have a permanent home here in Seattle. OPCD staff build deep partnerships with our EDI grantee organizations to see their projects from site acquisition to development to opening their doors and then continuing to provide the social services for the community that are most needed. Today, we have 75 projects that are in process. We have 9 projects like Art Noir, where we are today, that are in permanent operations. The city extends our thanks to Vivian Phillips, who we will be hearing from in a bit here, the force behind Art Noir, for welcoming us into her space. You will have the opportunity to hear from Vivian this morning, as well as Cesar Garcia, co-founder of Lake City Collective, and Y. King Garrett of Africatown. I want to acknowledge and thank all the members of the EDI grantee community and the EDI Community Advisory Board for the incredible work they lead in community and all that they do to guide our program and the success that we are able to see. With that, I am pleased to welcome Mayor Bruce Harrell, a steadfast champion of EDI, leading efforts to promote inclusive growth and advance anti-displacement strategies that empower marginalized communities and co-create a Seattle where everyone can access opportunities needed to thrive. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Rico. Thank you. Hold your applaud, please, please. So, I'm very honored to share a podium with, I'm going to go on a first name basis here, Vivian, Y. King, and Cesar. This work that we try to do as an administration, we really shouldn't take too much credit for it, in this sense, that people like Vivian have worked decades and decades, and Y. King and his family have worked decades and decades of advocacy, strong, effective advocacy to make sure that Seattle remembers its past and the rich history of its past and the diversity and the Black community and other communities that were here that helped establish what we see today. So as we fight displacement, we don't do it alone, we do it with community partners. And this is not a victory lap. You have to make that very clear. You have to celebrate milestones and you have to pat each other on the back once in a while, but only with the intent of saying that the fight continues. And so that is why I'm very proud to stand with the three of you. I want to ground us in a quote, and Vivian, again, thank you for hosting us at Art Noir, such a magnificent facility. I did say it right. I practiced it 5 times before I came up here. A magnificent facility, and I know Rico in his humility didn't mention the fact that I believe in another life you played a role in the architectural thinking behind this, and so you're obviously not a politician because you find a way to sneak that in there when you have the microphone, Rico, which demonstrates your continued humility and commitment to this community. I want to ground us in a quote. Our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. And that was from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I'm very pleased to announce the awards going to 42 projects through the EDI, the Equitable Development Initiative. I want to congratulate the awardees these are smart investments. They are worthy of the investments, and they will prove to the city in a very tough budget challenge that we have here in recent years. You've heard about it, and this is where you try to do the best you can for that which matters most. And this kind of work is extremely high in our priorities. EDI is a centerpiece of our strategy, as Rico talked about, to fight displacement for BIPOC communities and promote equitable access to housing, jobs, education, childcare, and other opportunities. It is especially timely that we're announcing these awards before MLK Day next week, as these investments speak to the idea of building a beloved community. These three fine individuals love this community. That's what drives them to do the work that they do. Now, one thing that I am particularly proud of is when I was elected president of the council in 2016, we began this work, and from that time on to this day today, we've invested over $116 million in this strategy. This is a continuum of the work that we have to do with our community partners. Is it enough? It's never enough. We're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of years of displacement strategies, gentrification, and other institutional challenges that we're facing. But we're doing the best we could. And every single day when I meet with my administration, that's the effort behind what we do. In our 2025-2026, we expanded funding for EDI to $28 million in 2025 and $29.2 million in 2026. And again, this is in the face of some of the biggest challenges, biggest financial challenges this city has ever faced. But these kinds of projects, and that is why, again, we're thankful to be hosted by you, Vivian. These types of projects, you could see what we're doing here. Community leaders honoring our past such that we could build upon our future. So with that, I will introduce our next speaker, Vivian Phillips, someone that, wait a minute, don't start walking. I've got an introduction for you here. Okay. Someone that I've known, again, I was going to say she's been doing this community building for decades and decades, but if I'd have said decades and decades and decades and decades, I would have aged her, and we're right around the same vintage. So I just said decades and decades, and she is my favorite Garfield bulldog as well, Vivian Phillips, the founder of this great establishment. Vivian?
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's going to be hard for me to call him mayor because, you know, we're on a first-name basis, and welcome to the hood. Mm-hmm. I think we grew up together here in this community, so you're obviously no stranger. I'm so grateful to be able to welcome all of you into Art Noir and to thank Rico particularly for getting me involved in this project to begin with. And hopefully we have made you proud. Hopefully we've made the city proud, because our intention is to be here forever and to maintain the legacy of Seattle's Black community through arts and culture for as long as we possibly can. I do need to start this morning by saying that our hearts are with the entire community of Altadena. It was California's first Black middle-class community, and the cultural community, the arts community in Altadena is suffering. And we want to try to do what we can to support them, but I just ask that you all keep them lifted in your prayers. You may not hear a lot about them because Palisades is going to take all of the front credit, or I should say focus, but we do want to acknowledge them. As Bruce knows, I have always believed that Seattle wants to be a better place. It is constantly trying to find itself and find ways to be a better city. And we believe that the Equitable Development Initiative is evidence of the fact that the city wants to be a better place, and we're really proud to be a part of it. Our first EDI grant allowed us to do the dreaming that resulted within what you're standing in today. So we're incredibly grateful to continue to be a partner with the City of Seattle. Rebuilding of communities is not normally anchored in arts and culture, but arts and culture is always called upon to help us understand what's going on in our communities, what's going on in our lives, and to help us better understand our relationship to one another. In this instance, we took the opportunity to anchor here at the corner of 23rd and Union arts and culture that stimulates more business here and that also recognizes, as the mayor did, that we are trying to maintain a presence. We are glad that we are partners and collaborators with others who have already been doing this work. We're happy to be joining Wanawari. We're happy to be joining Communion. And we thank Africatown Land Trust for the work that they've done to make it possible for Black ownership. And that is the key to what we are doing here. We own this space, so we are here in perpetuity. I'll wait for you to clap. That really is the big news for us. And we're, again, grateful to have been chosen to have this announcement for all of these organizations and all of these projects that are going to make our city and our community better. So thank you, Mayor Harrell. Thank you, Rico, and thank all of you.
Right, good morning, good morning. K.Y. King Garrett, third generation community builder from right here in this neighborhood, live right across the street. Currently have the privilege of serving as president and CEO of Africatown Community Land Trust, and just excited to see what has materialized from the work that, the Race and Social Equity Task Force, started back in 2013 and 2014 to create the EDI program, and to see that that work is producing all of these opportunities and really a nation-leading program in terms of dealing with anti-displacement. For us, we just a couple months ago cut the ribbon on Africatown Plaza, which really kind of solidified our work at this corner, right? And to be able to see Liberty Bank and Midtown Square and Africatown Plaza provide really proof of possibility, right? That something else is possible if community comes together and imagines a future and then sets the intention and keeps your attention on it, and puts the effort and energy. And so I want to say thank you not only to the city, Office of Planning and Community Development, the mayor, but to all of the community members whose names are not as well known, who came to community meetings, who came to planning meetings to advocate for a different future, not only for this corner, but for the city. Our premise is that Seattle is a world-class city. It should have a world-class Black community. And we see the Equitable Development Initiative program as a critical tool in charting that future and helping us co-design and co-create and build a future that includes us when we know the trends have been towards excluding so many of us. And so at a time when so much change is happening and Seattle was really, in a place of losing much of its soul, particularly when you talk about the Central District and the rich cultural legacies here, that now we have a resource to show what is possible and what can happen when we make investments. We know that it's been many, many years of policies and practices that have created these conditions, and to chart a different future, we have to have bold investments and interventions, and I think this corner and the EDI program are examples of the direction that the city of Seattle should be going, and taking and embracing the opportunity to lead this nation in how development can happen without displacement. So again, we say thank you. We also, at the close of this particular program, I just want to remind you that you are welcome to come over to Africatown Plaza and see the commercial space that the Equitable Development Initiative funding that we are receiving will be helping to build in terms of the future offices of Africatown Community Land Trust, as well as community cultural space. And so we're building this corridor, our vision of our Black Wall Street, and it's just beautiful to see things thriving where things were previously dying. So let's keep up the good work. Everyone lean in, keep advocating, keep pushing things in the right direction, and we can bring something that our children can be proud of and benefit from, because generational wealth is not just money. It's also culture, it's also connection, and it's also community. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cesar Garcia, and I am co-founder of Lake City Collective, along with my life partner, Peggy Hernandez, who is here, and who started advocating for pedestrian and safety issues long before me. She's not only the rock of our family, she's also the rock of our community organization. Before I start, I would like to thank Mayor Harrell, the entire Office of Planning and Community Development, Director Rico here, and everybody that is behind, all the work that is behind the EDI program. As well as this beautiful space. When we came, I hadn't been here in this space. It's such a beautiful space that every community in every part of the city, should have. So we look up to the organizations that have been doing the work here. Well, let me tell you that LCC will not exist without Peggy. Mostly anyone can do my role, but no one could fill her role as a community organizer. And that goes for all the women in our lives. And I would like to shout out to our project manager, Katie, who is also here. I always say that we owe everything to the city. What LCC is today and what we have accomplished so far, we owe that to OPCD 99% of the times. After years, in 2019, we applied for EDI capacity funds after years of doing community building in different spaces, the library, the community center, our local park, but our community needed a space to call their own, to call home. Thanks to our first EDI capacity building grant that we were awarded, we were able to afford rent in a small space in Little Brook, north of Lake City. And that changed everything for us and for our community, as now we had a base to build capacity for our community that had been neglected for so long. We rented the space in January 2020. 3 months after that, COVID came. And since then, our center has been a resilience hub, even before that term became a thing. In 2020, we applied to the Strategic Investment Fund 2 years after hard work, with our doors open even when government doors were not. It paid off. We were selected to secure a site just half a block from our center, a place that our community can call their own, a place that we can continue to grow our roots. Fast forward to this day, the Lake City Collective continues building community, but most importantly, is doing community development. Through our advocacy, in 1 or 2 months, parks will break ground to renovate our beloved Little Brook Park, which provided the space for us in the beginning. With SDOT, we have transformed an unsafe neighborhood for kids and seniors into a pedestrian-friendly community, along with a beautiful Native American mural. And we have a plaza in the works. We advocated for a GIS project with Seattle Public Utilities that will be built in our block. The funds that are awarded to us in this cycle will make a difference again. Thanks to the EDI and our partnership with the Office of Sustainability and Environment, we will get the help that we need to continue our capital campaign. Peggy and I are standing here proud of what we have accomplished. With your support, we are confident that we will welcome you to the Lake City Collective Multicultural Resilience Center when it's built, a space where our community will be prepared for whatever challenge lies ahead, a place where they will thrive and a place where they will celebrate their culture. Thank you.
My notes said you were supposed to come up here for Q&A, but I guess that would be my role. No. So again, in closing, and I'll entertain a few questions if there are some, I want to thank again Ms. Phillips, Vivian, for hosting us, and Joaquin Garrett for your steadfast advocacy. The whole city is proud of your efforts and what you are doing, and Cesar out in the Lake City Collective, thank you for your leadership. It was mentioned in the remarks, I did grow up just 4 blocks from here. I had conversations with your father as a young man here, walking these streets at 12 and 13 when I thought I knew everything and realized I knew very little, actually. So these projects are very near and dear to me as your mayor. And again, the advocacy and the determination of communities that have a voice, thank you for your voice, and we'll continue to do this work together. And having said that, I'd like to actually browse around a little bit, but if you have some questions, I'd entertain a few, and I'll wait and make sure. And these are questions from the press, because I know many of the community will have many questions for me, as you always do. Any questions? I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, Seattle, together. Thank you very much. All right. All right. Thank you.